Welcome back to another episode of Vikings Happy Hour, sponsored by Lake Monster Brewing and That's Badass Wood Art. Remember to use promo code CT for 20% off any one item at that'sbadasswoodart.com. It was just announced today that the Titans have released wide receiver Robert Woods, which leaves me asking the question, should the Vikings sign Robert Woods? There's some connections with KOC back with LA. What do you guys think, Miles? I see you grinning. Are you excited? Do you want Robert Woods on the team?
I think so. I tweeted this out right after it happened, just because Robert Woods is 30. A Titans saved like $12 million, so it kind of made sense like why they would. I think they're in a tough cap situation. But the year last year he was coming off an ACL injury, so like he looked a little bit slow, a little bit not as explosive as he was pre-injury. Usually that second year coming back from an ACL injury is it like you kind of get yourself back to 100%. And I think that'd be something I'd be intrigued by. And the reunion with Kevin O'Connell, I think he could fit this offense. I think he would know. And as a blocker, he's a really good inline blocker, especially for a guy his size. He showed in LA how good of a blocker he was. And I think you get him on motions, you get him on jet sweeps, you get him on blocking on the edge. I think he's a guy that could fit.
This dude's 30. He's slow. What are we jet sweeping him for?
Like I just said.
Hey, they sent CJ Ham on a jet sweep last year.
Yeah. Hey, I'm not saying he's Robert Woods of 3-4 years ago. I'm saying as a guy that like you want some depth, veteran depth. Like the one thing we don't know is what the Vikings are going to do with Adam Thielen. But I think if they were to cut Adam Thielen and you could get a Robert Woods back for, let's say, $2 to $3 million, a very cheap, reasonable deal. Would you rather have Adam Thielen at whatever, like that 12, whatever the pay cut number would look like? Because he's not coming back at $19 million cap hit. But like, let's say $12 million, or would you rather have Robert Woods at 3 or 4? I'd rather have Woods at 3 or 4 than, Adam Thielen at 12, hypothetically, right? And so
I'd rather have like Paris Campbell at 5 playing the same role, and he can actually run a jet sweep. Now, if his leg can like stay intact.
Ryan, tell me how you really feel right now.
I mean, again, why are we trying? The whole offseason I've been preaching we got to get younger on this team. Mm-hmm. And now we're trying to bring in a 30-year-old receiver. It doesn't make sense to me. Like, yeah, Adam Thielen, bye. I love the guy. Don't get me wrong. Happy for what he's done, but you're expensive and you're getting older. You don't have the jets you used to have. Robert Woods, again, yeah, he doesn't have the. I mean, again, I'm sure he's a fine receiver, and I'm sure he would do just fine here. But for the amount of money he's likely going to cost, because I doubt he'll just be 2-3, but he might. But the money he's going to cost, the age he's at, and where we're at with this team, our veterans in the receiver room are KJ Osborne, 24 years old, and obviously Justin Jefferson at 23. And I'm okay with that. Bring in some young guys, or bring in a guy coming into his first big contract. And let him go. I'd rather go, because again, Robert Woods is going to play a slot type role. There's plenty of slot receivers that are going to be available in the draft or in the free agency, like I had mentioned, Paris Campbell. But I mean, you can get that production from even like a Marquise Goodwin. I mean, granted, he played a lot on the outside, but there's plenty of guys that you can go get for probably cheaper who are younger. And I said Goodwin, who's old, but he's 32. He's older. But you know what I mean? Like there's going to be guys that are going to be available. Jacoby Myers, right? Granted, he'll probably have a bigger contract than what we would want to pay. But DJ Chark, I know he's not slot, but that's actually a bigger need that we have because KJ can play the slot. So if you want to get a guy who can stretch the field vertically, DJ Chark would make much more sense. And even if you're paying him $6-7 million a year versus even spending $3 on Robert Woods, I mean, it just makes a lot more sense to me.
Yeah, one thing we talked about too, Ryan, and I'm not sitting here being like, oh my gosh, they got to go sign Robert Woods. I think the obvious connection's there. And so I think, but to your point about Adam Thielen and KJ Osborne, Robert Woods would be more of a KJ Osborne replacement than he would be an Adam Thielen, because Adam Thielen last year played on the outside. I think the Vikings might be looking to find someone that that has a little bit more of that downfield ability that Robert Woods doesn't seem to have anymore. And he never really was like that guy anyways, but he kind of fit that KJ Osborne inline slot role and paired really well with Cooper Kupp, where they use those guys interchangeably. But I still think he could fit this offense. Like, let's say in 3 receiver sets. You maybe you draft somebody on day 2. You bring Robert Woods in for cheap. Like, I think it would still be a solid like piece to work with. But to your point, I'm not sitting here being like, oh my God, Robert Woods has to be a guy that they bring in the offseason.
Right.
Like, I'm with you. I'd rather bring in like a Darius Slayton, a DJ Chark, someone else as a younger veteran that can stretch the field.
And you had mentioned earlier Robert Woods' ability to block, right, which is great. Alan Lazard is another free agent who's like 27, right? So he's a little younger. I don't think you're going to gain much speed. He's going to be more money, but he's an amazing blocker, right? So, and he can do things like stretch the field a little bit from the kind of that X spot as well. I'm out on Robert Woods. I'm out on bringing in aging, older glory players. Like, it's fine. I'd rather take chances on young guys as we bring in a youth movement and have these coaches coach up and do their job and bring lesser talent to better talent.
Well, you probably got to get cheaper too, because we talked recently. Justin Jefferson is due for a contract extension soon. KJ Osborne's heading into the final year of his rookie deal, so the Vikings are kind of in a situation. And offense, they have T.J. Hawkinson, Ezra Cleveland, a few other guys that are due. Kirk Cousins, who knows, like guys that are due money. So going in and investing those resources on a veteran wide receiver could be tough.
Yeah, and that contract extension episode will drop on Thursday, so be sure to tune into that. As far as the Robert Woods dialogue goes, let us know your comments and what you think if the Vikings should go out and rekindle that connection between Kevin O'Connell and Robert Woods. Ryan says no. Miles is on the fence. You never know. It's the NFL offseason. So if you haven't yet, like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, Skol Vikes.